I'm seeing none. Okay, so this is the time for public comment on matters that are not on today's agenda. If any member of the public wishes to make a comment, please use the raise hand feature. On my screen, it's at the bottom in the menu. I don't know if all the softwares are the same, but the little raise hand button. So if anybody wants to make a comment on something not on today's agenda, please do so now. I'm not seeing any hands. Okay, so let's go to the consent calendar. There are 2 items today, the minutes from March 16 and a resolution extending our use of video meetings. And our clerk let me know the minutes had one minor error that she's already corrected, where the minutes had stated that Director Balachandran was still chair for that meeting. Are there any other corrections, or does anybody wish to pull an item off of consent? I see Director Balachandran.
It's repeated twice on page 1.
Okay.
So I show up as chair twice. I know this is really.
Double extra chair. Okay, we'll make sure that it's
Both
all
occasions.
corrected. Any other corrections to the minutes, or anyone wishing to pull an item?
Happy to move consent.
Okay.
Second.
Second.
So I heard Silicon Valley and second from Peninsula. Let's take public comment on the consent calendars. If anybody has one, please raise your hand. And I'm not seeing any hands going up. Okay, so I think we've got a motion in a second. So let's call the question.
For the consent agenda, Central Coast Community Energy,
Yes.
Clean Power SF,
Yes.
East Bay Community Energy, is absent. Marin Clean Energy,
Yes.
Peninsula Clean Energy,
Yes.
Redwood Coast Energy Authority,
Yes.
San Jose Clean Energy,
Yes.
Silicon Valley Clean Energy,
Yes.
Sonoma Clean Power Authority,
Yes.
Valley Clean Energy.
Yes.
The consent agenda passes. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we are on to the regular calendar of item 6. And Tim, why don't you go ahead and provide your general manager's report?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Chris, could you put the report on the screen, please? This will be a very brief report, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, board members. There is a constant theme that runs through the several slides that I'll be going through today, and that is that I'm encouraging you to closely engage with your POC and legal team, given that we're in the execution phase of the long duration storage contracts, and we are attempting to wrap up the negotiations for the firm clean resource contracts. Chris, would you go to slide number 3, please? This will provide a little bit more detail for you as to why it is that we're interested in the close coordination. We're nearing another milestone with regard to the Tumbleweed agreement. All 7 participating board have approved the agreements, and we are now in the contract execution phase. Our expectation is that we'll have partially executed agreements that we're going to be able to provide to Rev Renewables this week. And so what I would ask is that you confirm with your CCA that agreements have been executed so that we'd be able to finalize this phase, get the agreements to Rev Renewable, and then move forward with the contracts. As to the goal line, we're in a similar situation that we were with Tumbleweed until recently. 4 of our 6 participants, boards have approved the agreement. And what we will be working toward is contract execution by May 30th. So we're in good shape with regard to goal line as well. What this leads to is the contract administration phase of long duration storage. We will be in this phase, and in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be finalizing the coordinated operating agreement, standing up an operating committee, which includes representatives of each of the participating members. As we go through this in the next couple of weeks, we'll be considering a number of things, including whether or not there's any budget implications that would be associated with this next phase of the long duration storage. We will bring any recommendation that we have budget-wise or otherwise to the board when we present the final coordinated operating agreement sometime in the future. I don't have a date specifically in mind right now, but we will be working toward that milestone with the Tumbleweed project, and then goal line will follow that in a similar fashion. Chris, could we go to the next slide? This, since September of last year, I've used this slide in my updates in order to be able to help orient you with regard to the timeline that we have for the Firm Clean Resources project. We issued that RFO in October of last year. We are now well into the contract negotiation phase 2 of this timeline. And the reason that I'm pointing that out is that the negotiating team anticipates that we could wrap up negotiations within the next couple of weeks. What will happen is that as we reach agreement with sellers, we will schedule a special board meeting, and one could be possible as soon as late next month. We've gotten to this point through close coordination with the 9 members who are part of the POC, and so the POC is well versed in the contracts that are being negotiated. They will be part of the decision as to whether or not we feel as though we're at a point of agreement with the sellers, and then subsequently scheduling the special meeting. There's a couple of bullets there that note some particular items associated with these contracts. We've got the enhanced conditions that the board had adopted for the long duration storage incorporated into these projects, and we've been able to adhere to this timeline by applying lessons that we've learned in the long duration storage. So the theme here is your close coordination with your POC and legal team as we get through the execution of agreements, the final negotiations of the Firm Clean Resource contracts. And so it's important for us to be able to work with you toward being able to get to those milestones with each of the contracts that we're working on. So, Mr. Chair, that's a short presentation that I had prepared for today. But it's, I think, the substance of what it is that is important for the board to consider.
Thank you.
Back to you.
And let's see. Are there any questions for our general manager? Tom? you got your hand up.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, what's board workforce? I understand the environmental justice condition. I just don't understand what board workforce means.
Oh, on the slide. Is the word board extraneous there?
It is.
Oh.
These, what this refers to are the workforce environmental justice enhanced conditions that the board had
Gotcha.
approved last year at this time and has been incorporated into the firm clean resource RFO and contracts.
Got you. Thank you.
And I'd love to reinforce Tim's message of close communication with your POC member. I think one of the things that I'm aware of in my organization, may be true in some of yours, is that my sense of what my board will ultimately agree to is better than anyone on my staff. And that's one of the pieces of information that I hold and need to make sure I'm communicating back to my POC members. And so if you've got input on that kind of piece of information or any concerns or any risks to closing out the deal, the Firm Clean Resource deal, please let your POC member know soon. And any other questions for our general manager or comments on this 6A? Okay, I think this is an item that we would take public comment on as well, right? So let's take public comment on this. If anyone's got a comment, please raise your hand. Seeing no hands going up, let's move on to item 6B. And this is asking the board to pass a resolution approving a conflict of interest code and authorizing initiation of procedures for adopting the code by written comment period. And just a reminder for those who haven't been through this in some years, probably all of you that have JPAs have done this, and I expect this to be routine, but are there any questions for our council or our manager on this item before I ask for a motion? Seeing none, let's see, I'll take a motion and then go to comment. So is there a motion?
I'll move it. It's Barbara.
Thanks. So San Francisco, is there a second?
I'll second.
A second.
Let's see, I heard somebody right before Tom. Who was first there? I missed it.
It's me, Mitch.
Okay. Valley Clean Energy. All right. So let's go to public comment on 6B. Any public comment? And I know our council and Chris are making sure that we're monitoring the email address as well for any written comment. I'm not seeing any, so let's bring it back and call the question.
Okay, for resolution 220402 on the conflict of interest code, Central Coast Community Energy,
Yes.
Clean Power SF,
Yes.
East Bay Community Energy, I believe is absent, Marin Clean Energy,
Yes.
Peninsula Clean Energy,
Yes.
Redwood Coast Energy Authority,
Yes.
San Jose Clean Energy,
Yes.
Silicon Valley Clean Energy,
Yes.
Sonoma Clean Power Authority,
Yes.
Valley Clean Energy.
Yes.
Thank you. The resolution passes.
Thank you. So item 7, are there any individual member items or announcements?
Sorry, Jeff, I'm not sure if I missed it. Under the GM report, the agenda showed budget and future of CC Power. Is that being dropped today?
I apologize. I was rushing through. Tim, did you have some material on that item as well?
It was really incorporated into the several items that I had commented on, Jeff, that the future items have to do with entering into the third phase of the long duration storage and those
Got it.
steps that were taken. And there's nothing specific with regard to the budget right now.
Okay.
There may be something, but that will involve further discussion with the POC.
Okay, and I think that was fairly clarifying and administrative remark, but Brittany, tell me if we should reopen that item and ask for further comment. Or-
I don't believe so, but
Thanks. I think that sounds right to me too. So again, just one more check for individual items. While you're thinking, I'll share one 20-second public service announcement to be on guard for phishing attacks. There's a whole lot of them going on these days, and they're getting better and better. So anyway, be skeptical. Anyone else, anything before we adjourn? I'm seeing heads shake. Okay, well, thanks everyone for another quick meeting, and we'll see you next time. The meeting is adjourned at 1:17 p.m.